Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight on our news.
The agriculture minister on the defense once again over the government and the Chinese. That story coming up.
34% of estimated eligible voters in the Bahamas have registered to vote. The minister responsible for elections speaks out.
Bahamians react to Donald Trump's victory. That story straight ahead.
A look at restoration and recovery efforts on Grand Bahama 1 month after Hurricane Matthew. And a look at how a Bahamian-run forestry industry could make millions for the Bahamas. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina McNeil. Topping news tonight, Agriculture Minister Alfred says public discussion over proposed Chinese deals didn't have to get this nasty. During a press conference today, the minister hit out at politicians, environmentalists, and the media, and also suggested negotiations for the proposed agri-fisheries deal may continue. Kyle Joaquin tells us more.
Well, Christina, Gray said the entire issue has become extremely political. So he called a press conference today where he defended himself, the government, and to an extent, the Chinese. With all the public uproar over Chinese business interests in the Bahamas, Gray stressed the repercussions of what could happen if the Chinese community gets fed up and leaves.
They closed down the port in Freeport. They closed down all the investments they have in the Bahamas. Then what? How stupid will a Bahamian people look at leaders who allowed or caused that to happen? Because when you have money, you could take it anywhere. They don't have to be here. They chose to be here. And the least we could do is treat them well.
Many Bahamians have expressed disapproval with the government since the revelation that Gray gave the Bahamas ambassadors to China the approval to further pursue an agri-fisheries venture on Andros. Gray has since denied that there is a proposal stating that it was all just an initiative presented by the ambassador. However, Gray gave the go-ahead in writing. So we asked him if the Bahamas ambassador to China was still pursuing it.
If he will further pursue it? I guess you have to ask him. I gave the letter. I have not withdrawn the letter. You could call him.
The minister also tried to clarify what he meant last week when he said in Parliament that the Nassau Guardian hadn't printed the letter to the ambassador in full.
I don't normally read the Nassau Guardian. And I saw a page which was not the whole letter. I'm told that the other piece of the letter was about 4 pages into the Guardian. And I didn't look through the Guardian like that. What I saw was not the whole letter.
And then things took an interesting turn. Gray then deflected all the attention towards the former F&M government.
Mr. Minnis should be the last person on this earth to ask for anyone's resignation without himself resigning over his blatant conflict of interest.
He was referring to the rent of the StatCare building to the Public Hospitals Authority while Minnis served as Minister of Health. Both the F&M and DNA call for more transparency on investment deals. We asked Gray if he feels talks like that of the agri-fisheries venture should be brought to the public. 6 minutes
now, Gray say you all did not bring that to the public. Let him answer that and then you could take your cue from that. You understand what I'm saying? I don't want to get mixed up in that no further. I put it out there, and if he said they had it in Parliament, tell him bring their evidence.
Gray stressed that he did nothing wrong and called on the F&M to clarify its business with the Chinese as well.
I have never lied to the Bahamian people. I will never lie to the Bahamian people about my job, ever. And I challenge anybody to prove otherwise.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
In other news, only 34% of estimated eligible voters in the Bahamas have registered to vote as of November 4th, 2016. The most recent voter registration figures obtained by the Nassau Guardian from the Parliamentary Registration Department show that voter registration remains sluggish throughout the country, with the Family Islands far behind New Providence and Grand Bahama. In a recent interview with Our News, the minister responsible for the Parliamentary Registration Department and elections, Dr. Bernard Nottage, agreed that voter registration is down. Nottage, however, stopped short of agreeing with observers who have speculated that the low figures are due to voter apathy.
The people have been confused over the past year we've had a couple of occasions when people have had to use their voters' cards, and people almost have, well, I better not say that.
According to the most recent voter registration figures available, Killarney, Golden Isles, Marathon, Yamacraw, and Southern Shores are the constituencies with the highest voter registration rate so far. However, Killarney boasts the highest number of registered voters so far, with a figure of 2,376. That number only represents 44.26% of eligible voters in that constituency. Nottage says government will soon kick the election machine into high gear in an effort to encourage voter registration.
We're going to be implementing some strategies to see if we can accelerate registration. I think we will be able to.
North Andros and the Berry Islands, the Exumas and Ragged Island, Central and South Eleuthera, Central and South Abaco, and Long Island are among the constituencies with the lowest voter registration so far. Nottage adds that voter registration efforts will also focus heavily on the Family Islands.
Well, he's right that registration is down. In the Bahamas, traditionally, people register, and traditionally they vote. We have one of the highest voter rates in the world. And so it's something that we are paying attention to. We are having meetings to determine what steps will be taken. And I think that you'll see steps being taken very shortly to try to accelerate and encourage voter registration throughout New Providence and the Family Islands.
The Progressive Liberal Party recently postponed its national convention, which was scheduled to take place this month. That convention is now expected between January and February 2017. Meanwhile, the country's next general election is anticipated to take place by May 2017. Well, it was a huge night for the United States as American voters cast their votes for a new president. It's an event that was watched closely by people all over the world. Simone Davis tells us more in this report.
The people of the United States have voted, and Donald Trump has emerged as president-elect.
This means that Donald Trump will be the 45th president of the United States, winning the most unreal, surreal election we have ever seen.
The president-elect addressed his supporters at a victory rally in New York early this morning after snagging 289 electoral votes over Hillary Clinton's 218 votes.
Together, we will lead our party back to the White House, and we will lead our country back to safety, prosperity, and peace. We will be a country of generosity and warmth, but we will also be a country of law and order.
And with the new president in the White House, Bahamians are watching closely to see how policies driven by Trump could directly impact the Bahamas.
The leader of the opposition, Dr. Hubert Minnis, is sending his congratulations to President Trump with a statement issued this morning. Minnis says, on behalf of the Free National Movement, I congratulate President-elect Donald Trump on being elected President of the United States of America. The U.S. is our closest ally, and historically, our two countries have enjoyed an excellent relationship. He says we will continue to devote efforts to sustain this unique and beneficial relationship with the U.S. under President Trump. Dozens of leaders around the world have sent similar sentiments, congratulating Trump on securing the election win. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Immigration Fred Mitchell has said the Bahamas government will continue to work closely with the U.S. government to maintain the relationship between the two countries, adding that there is no need to worry. Reporting for our news, I'm Simone Davis.
Thanks, Simone. Still to come on our news.
How the people in West End, Grand Bahama have been doing since Matthew. That story coming up.
A former state minister for the environment has a solution to the country's energy problem and remembering a legend 2 years after a fatal accident. That's coming up when our news returns.